together. Let's see here. All right, getting everybody together. So Instagram, you're here. Hey, Ashley. I'm gonna have my sister. She's really smart about supplements and stuff and natural living. So I'm gonna have her check out the supplement you recommended because yeah, I have struggled with staying asleep and insomnia for like over probably 15 years now. All right, we're getting Facebook and not Facebook, LinkedIn and YouTube over here. And then over here we have Instagram. I love this chapter. We are on chapter 10 of the Atomic Habits book. There's going to be a few chapters that I am going to skip after this one because I feel like sometimes, hey Raven, sometimes the information that he gets into in the book is a little bit repetitive, or I think that I've covered it in different various ways or often in the way that I teach things. So I want to just spend our time together giving you information that's going to be very helpful. This chapter, I love it because it's about the role that people play in shaping the person that you are or the success that you achieve. And he starts off talking about a case study, and I'm going to go over the case study real quick. But before we do that, I just want you guys to leave hearts, leave comments. Is this information helping you? Are you growing from it? Do you listen to it and think that you can apply it to your life? Do you still feel like when you try to set goals or create habits is hard for you? Give me a little bit of feedback on what's going on, because maybe if you are still struggling to put this information into planning your life, we can talk a little bit about that. But if you feel like it's very helpful, I would like to know what part is helpful for you. Because again, I told you this book is truly, it wasn't life-changing for me, but a lot of the times people would ask me why I was the way that I was, and this book explained something that I inherently did. And I actually think that there are probably a lot of other people that achieve levels of success that don't really consciously understand why, but this is the way that they approach their life. All right, so the people you hang around impacting your life. When he starts off the chapter, he talks about a man that wanted a daughter, or well, he wanted children, and the children, he wanted them to be chess players. And so when he had these children, they were engrossed in an environment that was chess. For those of us in America, we can probably think of the Williams sisters, right? You just get entrenched in this culture, and you sleep it, you eat it, you breathe it. Your family is behind you, helping you to move in this direction of being these phenomenal chess players, or this tennis player, or even like Tiger Woods, this golf player. And so for people in that type of environment, they don't know any different. But the most impactful thing is it's not that they grew up with a skill that you couldn't accomplish or skill that I couldn't accomplish. What primarily the author is saying moved them in the direction that they moved in was because that was the way that their environment was set up. There was no question this was going to be what they did. And, you know, we hear about certain kids that may find this a little bit alarming, or they may get resentful because maybe they get toward I call it a Saturn return. So in their 30s and stuff, and they think that, well, how do I even know this is what I wanted? But for a lot of these children, whether we want to admit it or not, they will say that they like the way that they grew up because it was fun, it was enjoyable. Basically, it was all that they knew. So a lot of children in these type of environments where it is shaped around one thing is pretty atypical, he says. But it shows us that if we are in a culture that praises and rewards and supports certain behaviors, we are more apt to adopt those behaviors. So I want you to think about some of the things that you are doing in your life, consciously or unconsciously, and how you can tie those things back to certain behaviors that you are doing in your own life. I will give you a perfect example in my own personal life, and this was something that I had to grow out of. And I didn't really notice it because, you start to think that this stuff is normal. This is how everybody acts, especially if you have an environment where maybe your mom acts this way, your dad acts this way, your grandma, your grandpa, like or your culture, your race, everything, everybody that you see around you acts a certain way. So you don't think that there's anything wrong with it. But for example, one thing that stands out to me, and it was something that I really had to work on, especially because when I had lost everything in my life, I knew I wanted to have a life that was different. And I just knew that there could be happiness and there could be abundance in life, even if I didn't know anybody that had what I had before. And I knew that if I wanted to have a better relationship once I healed myself, one of the things that I was going to have to learn how to do was love, and love unconditionally. That meant love somebody, not if they tell me they love me first, love somebody through their faults and through the ups and downs, love somebody if they hurt my feelings. And I had a tendency of withholding love, affection, acknowledgement if I was in my feelings. So, send me some hearts or talk to me if you've ever had to experience this too. I'm kind of trying to put it into words because it's like my mind is going faster than my mouth. But how this would look was, say, like in my old relationship, if my spouse hurt my feelings, even if it was something that wasn't bad, but he hurt my feelings, I would ignore. I would act like he wasn't there, ghost, have an attitude, do all of these things thinking that that was the way that you acted until you either got over it. The silent treatment, I was so big for the silent treatment. And it took me a long time to understand that if I wanted to be in a healthy relationship, I was going to have to learn how to get out of my feelings and learn how to approach my relationship in a way that was more conducive to having the environment and the relationship that I wanted. So I had a lot of hard lessons to learn about how my behavior, not his behavior, but how my behavior was negatively impacting the relationship. Let's see. Raven said, "That's me." Yeah, it's bad. And then Ashley said, "Yeah, I was big on bottling my feelings." Yeah, you just hold them in, right? And you get resentful because you feel like, oh, well, if I don't do that, you should know. This is a normal relationship stuff. You should know what I want. You should know what I need. But no, that's not how relationships work. And so I really had to learn that. And I had to get rid of some of those negative things that I pulled into my various relationships moving forward. Ashley said, and I was taught just keep the peace. So I would just let things go as long as there is peace. Exactly. And some of you have learned that, right, in your family or in your upbringing or in your culture, that a marriage is like the best thing since sliced bread. Having a partner is the best thing since sliced bread. If you don't have somebody by you, you're worthless. If you're not married and if you don't have the kids and you don't have all of the things and do it in the way that we were conditioned to do it, then something is wrong with you. So think about how for a very long time, we don't even know why we are who we are. A lot of times we've been fed a culture, we've been fed beliefs, we've been fed all of the things that make us who we are, the food that we eat, the music that we like, all of it is a product of the way that we were brought up in our environment and our conditioning. So we were basically, it's almost like molded into these little people that continue the cycle of either positive, like the chess players, the tennis, all that, or negative, like the people that, like I was, that didn't want to be emotionally vulnerable, immature emotionally, all of that stuff. So what he also says is, we don't choose our earliest habits, which I just kind of went ahead of him. We don't choose our earliest habits. We imitate them. For those of you that have children, you know, my nieces and nephews, I could see how they would imitate me, my sisters, their dad. They don't know what they're doing, but they will imitate something perfectly until they get to an age where that actually becomes something that they've chosen to adopt into their psyche without even knowing, just by imitation, just by being in a situation. He says we follow the script that was handed down by our friends and our family and our church and our school and society and all of this stuff that has its own expectations and its own standards that are put upon us. And even if you don't think that you're keeping them in mind, you are. We all are. And so I'm going to show you some specific instances that we do this for better or for worse. He said, though, that behaviors are more attractive to us when they help us fit in. So think about this. I'm going to flip the script before we move into more of what he is talking about. Hey, Robert. Hey, Lena K. So when I did start to learn how to adopt more positive behaviors in relationships, sometimes it will make me a little bit uncomfortable, right? Because so now you have this relationship, the relationship that you dreamed of with a good partner that is just, out of this world, unconditional love. And then you have to go to, let's say, a function with the people in your life and the people in your family that still are emotionally immature. They don't want to be vulnerable. They feel weird touching each other or, doing any type of affectionate behavior in front of anybody else. So I'm feeling awkward in my relationship because I am in one that is more free and more loving. And now I'm put back in that environment where it wasn't so free to be safe and be loved that way. And guess what? It's awkward. And then you start acting funny. And so you don't want to touch each other like you do at home or kiss each other or hold hands or do all the things or call each other these little pet names that you call each other at home because you're in an environment where people don't get that. And that could be for anything. We can take that example and not use that, but I'm sure that there's a way that you may want to behave, a way that you may want to act, and a way that you may want to show up in life. But because your environment does not make it attractive for you to be that way, you show up in life inauthentically in some sort of area of your life. We've all done it. We all do it. It's just how we fit in as a culture that wants to belong as part of being a human. He says, we imitate the habits of three groups in particular: the people that are close to us, the majority, and the powerful. So we're going to go into imitating people that are close to us. He says that proximity has a powerful effect on our behavior, and we pick up on habits from the people around us. Even if you don't watch or know that you're doing it, if you watch the way that you talk to certain people, or, if somebody's more animated and then all of a sudden you find yourself being more animated, they call this mirroring in psychology. We can even unconsciously start to do this and imitate behaviors of the people that we're around. Those of you that maybe grew up in the North, but you got a lot of family in the South, when you get down South, be down there for a few days, all of a sudden you got a Southern accent as well. We all do it, right? It's not a bad thing, though. It's only a bad thing if we are in an environment or the people around us or are close to us, and they're not doing or behaving in a way in which we want to behave or wish to behave for ourselves. This is important. I've talked about this a multitude of times. This is scientifically proven that these type of things impact your behavior. However, some of you are still going to choose to believe that you can put yourself in proximity of people that are not moving in the direction that you want to move in, and give them your time, your emotional love, your attention, and be emotionally connected and entrenched in a relationship with people like this, and think that it's not going to affect you. So you won't make the hard decisions that you need to make if you are in a relationship that is not good for you and you guys are not trying to do better. You will not get rid of friends that you need to. And for some of you, this is a very hard thing to say. For those of us that have been raised to culturally connect to our family very closely, for some of us, if we don't know how to set proper boundaries, not just not seeing those people, but energetic boundaries, it can even be family that we may need to watch out for. And until we are ready to do that, you are never going to energetically reach the potential and the vibration that you could reach if you if you have more hygiene around your environment, around the people that you allow in your environment. And I'm not saying this in a naive way that we get to choose and, cut off people in our life, because there's many times that we can't. But then that is where, how a lot of people teach this, but they don't tell you how. And for me, that is why I marry science with spirituality, because there is a way for you to protect your energetic boundaries, so that if you have to be within not a relationship, in a environment with those type of people, you are able to protect your energy. However, for a lot of us, it's not that, it's that we have just not made the brave decision to cut off the things, the people that we know that we need to cut off. One of the most effective things he says that you can do to build better habits is to join a culture where your desired behavior is a normal behavior. So even if you are in certain circumstances where at this moment you don't have the capacity or the ability to cut these people off or change your environment or change the people that you're around, one thing that you could do that is positive is to be in a culture where the desired behavior is a norm. That is the number one thing that inspired me to create the Personal Mastery membership. And while it is still in its growth phases, I just have so much vision for it growing and for it being a place where women can come together and not just say that they want a better life and not just say that they want to achieve these goals. They actually want to become better people, because when you learn what it is that you need to learn, like how you're doing on this live stream, and you actually put it in practice in your life, you become a person who knows yourself, your intuition, you're able to live life authentically, you're able to set proper boundaries, and you're able to create whatever it is that you want in your life, in all areas of your life. You get to live your best life. Because I know that a lot of us that want to do this don't know people that do this kind of stuff, or they put us down. They don't support us when we're trying to make that transition. And maybe you just need a place where it's curated and is supportive for you to have these people all come together. Surround yourself with people who have the habits that you want to have for yourself, and you'll rise together. This is one of my pet peeves, guys. I'm just like going off today. This is one of my pet peeves. A lot of you too will look to people to help give you guidance on life and to help be your role model and to be somebody that you look up to and some people that you're envious of, when those people have about the same habits as you. They're messy, they have anxiety, they have depression, they don't have their relationships together. And so you feel like you can rise with these people, or you look up to these people when you're putting people on a pedestal that are not going to allow you to rise. Those people are your peers. They're not your teachers. They're not your leaders. They may be your girlfriend, but she said you're right about that. Yeah, it's out of control, especially with the spirituality mess. Don't let me get started on that. All right. So to make your habits even more attractive, he says you can take this strategy one step better. So the first part was, right, join a culture that has your desired behavior. And also you can join a culture that has something in common with you. So what does that look like in my space, in my world, in what I stand for? It means that I want my space to be about women. We're all similar. We all have similar things going on in our life, no matter if we come from different backgrounds, no matter if we have different things going on in our life. We're all women, and we're all trying to not say that we want to live a better life. We actually want to know ourselves, and we want to live a better life. Nothing sustains motivation better than belonging to a tribe. Nothing sustains motivation better than belonging to a tribe. So there's some of you, I'm not going to call y'all out, But you're the founding members in my membership. And so for those I'm looking to you to step up and to support each other and to actually get a sense or create a sense of belonging around this group. Because guess what? This is where you get that motivation from. For some of you that feel like you're stuck and feel like you are just depleted and drained and frustrated and like you cannot move forward and you cannot do things on your own, this is the power of that. But if you don't pour any energy into it, you're not going to get one of the key things out of it that you can get, which is getting that injection of support and motivation that you wouldn't otherwise get anywhere else. So the second thing, remember he said, we imitate the many. So there was a scientific study where they had these people in a room. Some of them were higher actors, some of them were just normal people. And what they did was they put up some lines and they were all different sizes. You could clearly see that some of them were shorter than the other. And they would say, which one is the shortest line? Even though the answer was obvious, when the actors said the wrong answer, pretty soon, even though people knew that the actors were wrong, they started agreeing with the actors because they wanted to fit in, because maybe those actors knew something or were seeing something they didn't see. So we've all done that before too, right? You're in a group, you know that something is wrong, or you know you have a different opinion, but because the group is going along doing one thing, you decide that, again, you're not going to be authentic, you're not going to have integrity towards yourself and honor yourself, and so you go against yourself. They did this experiment many times, and what they discovered is the more actors they put in that said the wrong answers, the more people lied, the more people agreed with the actors and were afraid to say what the right answer was. Whenever we are unsure how to act, we look to the group to guide our behavior. Sometimes this is positive, right? Sometimes that means that if we're in a new environment and everybody has etiquette and they're dressed up, we know, oh shoot, we better put our A game on and we better look nice. But sometimes it's not. Because if you're unsure how to act and you're trying to level up and you're looking to the group to see what it means to level up, then negativity toward people with money comes up. Negativity about money mindset comes up. Abundance. Say you want a relationship around a whole bunch of people that don't have healthy relationships, and watch what happens. And then you conform to that, because rather than be authentic to yourself or cut off the people you need to cut off, you just stay quiet. Again, not knowing that on an energetic level, whether you want to believe it or not, you're never going to reach your full potential. Another way that I could think of this is, say you have a glass of hot water and you have a glass of cold water. You can't put them in the same cup and not expect that temperature of either one to change. That's kind of how energy works in relationships. If one of you is hot and trying to get your life together and do all of the things, and you still letting this cold water trickle into your cup, guess what's happening? It doesn't matter how hot you want to be, how much work you want to do. You're not going to stay as hot as you could if you got rid of that trickle of cold water. And this happens to you if you know it or not. If you know it or not, it's powerful. All right, the third thing is we like to imitate powerful people. Again, this could be positive or negative. For young men that are around people that are in gangs, for them, power could look a different way. And so they do things to make themselves be more powerful, to make themselves fit in with the group, right? And also, what was the first one he said? We also do it when we are trying to imitate the people around us. Okay, so this could be good though, because success has given us many different clues about what we can do to be successful people. And what we can do to be successful people is not make excuses that our mama didn't teach us this, our daddy didn't teach us this, we never got to do this. Somebody in my family once said, they never taught us about money. Okay, that was fine then when we didn't know better, when we were just imitating what was implanted upon us. But at this time, when you have the opportunity to to do so, and the information is readily available, there is no reason why you cannot increase your skills and your capacity to be able to do what it is that you want to do. We look to people that are successful. We want to know their routines. We want to know what they eat. We want to know how they work out. We want to know all the things about them, because we can borrow from their behavior in order to make us better, especially if we don't have this type of information available to us and in our proximity. This is why I do what I do. There are so many people, like my family would discourage me from a lot of things. I've done a lot of risky things in my life, and I made a lot of decisions that most would consider unsafe. And then they would say, well, you just do things other people don't do. And it's not that I did things, well, I guess I did things that other people didn't do, but it's because I studied and I read and I looked up to people that were moving in the direction I wanted to go. And I emulated what I read, or I emulated what I thought that success looked like, rather than my environment, rather than my conditioning. And what I have done in my life has never been hard. Nothing I have done in my life has ever been hard. Even when I went through my divorce, and it was devastating emotionally, but when I look back at it, I was able to snap back and I was able to create a much better life for myself now. And it wasn't that hard. And it was because I chose to put myself in the proximity of information and emulate people that have been successful, and not try to do things on my own and not try to make excuses for the way that my life turned out. I know plenty of people that have went through the same things that I went through and lost everything, and they're still drowning, still struggling. And that's a choice. So I'm gonna leave it at that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and look at the comments that I missed. If you guys have comments, suggestions, you need advice, you need coaching, this is the perfect time to put your comments in while I'm getting everything set up to look at the questions. For those of you, I'll just say that right now while I'm waiting, because there is like a lag here. If you need additional resources and you haven't already gotten them, and you don't have the Atomic Habits book, but you want to, or you want to get more resources, then you can text the word mastery to 833-231-4407. And I put together some resources for you, as well as a list of all the videos that we've done thus far. We're on chapter 11, so there's lots of replay videos for you to get caught up. All right, let's see what we got. What did we miss? Yeah, Robert said wearing a mask. So there's so many of us that are wearing a mask, and you could be doing it the way that I did it. Like, I didn't think I was wearing a mask until everything that I put everything that I thought fed into my identity of who I was taken away. So once I had the house, the good job, the husband, I, just living my best life, traveling, doing all the things, but then I didn't have a house. I didn't have a husband. I didn't have a job. I didn't have any of those things, and they got stripped away. And so then I'm trying to figure out, well, who am I? And I didn't know who I was. And it was, an eye-opener for me, because I thought I knew, and I was wearing this mask, but for some reason, and it probably was the biggest blessing I've had in my life thus far, God was like, girl, no, this is not right. You ain't paying attention. You're just going to get it all taken away. And I had to start all over, and I had to learn who I was. That was the number one thing that has contributed to me living a happy, stress-free, abundant life, the life that I live right now. It's creating my identity based on who I wanted to be in this second phase of my life, and do it in a way that was meaningful and purposeful, and moving me in the direction that I wanted to. So some of you are wearing a mask, and you're doing it not even consciously knowing that you're doing it. But if you started to ask yourself, like, a lot of times, the first thing that I start to work on with my private clients is, who are you? What do you want? What do you like? What are your values? A lot of people can't even answer those questions. And so we have to start all the way back at that level to help you even connect to who you are, so that you're able to move forward more appropriately. Safe and supportive space. Yes, the membership is a safe and supportive space that I've created for you guys to have this opportunity to be in the energy of women that want to level up instead of trying to feel like you have to struggle alone. Ashley, I've realized that about certain people I look up to. Yeah, you got to pay attention to people you look up to. Just because they have that exterior going on, we all can have that, right? You could get a credit card and you could get the exterior looking on point, but the interior, if they are not even a step above you, if they're talking about how their life is a hashtag mess and they got all this anxiety and stuff, those ain't your people. Let's see. Yeah, your temperature will decrease. The example with the water. I love it and resonate with it so much. It's so true. I love tonight. Oh, Robert said good talk. Thank you. And then Robert, this is near and dear to my heart because I feel like I get a lot of flack for the way that I live my life. I love people in my family, and we all have this, right? We love the people in our family, but I don't like you. And so if you have energy that I know is going to bring my energy down, I'm going to use boundaries when I'm around you, but I'm also going to limit my time around you. And some people don't understand that. They think it's snobby. They think it's bougie. They think you're better than everybody else. When in fact, the issue is, no, I don't think any of those things. I'm trying to protect myself because I need my vibe to be high to get to where I want to be in life. And so it really, personally and emotionally hits home with me because I figure that if I have to go through some of that, you may go through that too. And if you are feeling guilty about doing stuff like that, or if you feel scared to do stuff like that, I want you to know it's okay, because in all actuality, when I am around those people, I'm able to enjoy them for who they are, but I'm also most of the time just not inviting drama in my life. So I don't have a dramatic life. My life is peaceful. It's like almost boringly peaceful. And that has been that way for a very long time. So it's possible to live a peaceful, drama-free life. All right, Ashley, I love tonight's lesson. What is this topic called? So this is from chapter 11, is it? Oh, no, chapter 9. This is chapter 9 of Atomic Habits. The name of the chapter was called The Role of Your Friends and Family in Shaping Your Habits. So I just gave you some key highlights of what he said, and then you guys know I always go for my 2 cents and everything. Boundaries are good. Self-care is imperative. Yes. All right. So I am going to let you guys go. We went a little bit over, but I'm glad that you enjoyed this talk. I will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. If you're struggling, you want help, you want me to help you do this with my system, then just reach out. Let me know. You can DM me and I will talk to you more about how you can work with me privately. All right. Good night, everybody. Good night. Bye.